that would be too time consuming, so I think can I
Mhm.
oh, maybe I'll just, okay, I'll think about that, that makes sense, I might just relabel the group, the whole group itself, or maybe create another
Okay.
smaller group.
All right. Do you have TeamViewer running on the machine?
Yeah, David, or, yeah. Yeah, I think we had it set up from before.
Is it over here, David?
Yeah, we had it on. I had a drink of water.
No, it's not there. Oh, right here. Just kidding. There we go. That takes a little while, huh? Yeah, we're just loading it right now. We're trying to get it.
Okay.
Oh, that's why. Oh, cancel that. I think there's multiple interesting instances. Yeah. Let's get this thing running, and then he can just get it started up again.
Does that help at all? Not really.
It looks like it just
You just turned
came
off
up
the
on my
radio.
list, so
Yep.
I just need
It's the password or the ID?
I need the ID first.
All right, 538-812-637.
And then the password?
Password is 2765.
I just wanted to make sure the radio is on.
Okay.
That's like such a nice radio there. Little thing.
All right.
It's a miracle, Rob, that we actually coordinated this training.
Well, that's good. I've been looking forward to it.
It's good. It's the start, and we can get the other ones lined up. It just was rough for a month.
Yeah, I understand.
All right.
And I've never really played with this. I know how to run the radio, but not this. So I'm a beginner with this. I'm gonna try to keep up with you guys and figure out what's going on
All right.
too.
Okay, well, let's see. Is this the one that's on the air right now, right? Yeah. Okay, yeah, it's playing there. Okay.
I did have a question. I know you had talked about it before, and maybe we even have it recorded somewhere. But if someone brought in a playlist of, let's say, 15 songs, and we wanted to play that list in the order of those songs, it was my understanding that we could take that whole list and put it into our group that says playlists up to 30 minutes, and then put that on a clock, or just pull it into the schedule directly. But we don't have to take them in one song at a time, or do we?
Well, there's a process involved, and let me close this. What you would need to do and when you say they bring in a playlist, they're bringing in the music on a thumb drive,
Or CD or anything like that.
Yeah.
So the music's not already in the system.
Right. It's their
Yeah.
special thing that they're going to have a half-hour radio show on whoever, and they've put their playlist together.
Okay, so they have the songs, and they're individual songs, right? They're not all run together into
No.
a single file. Okay, so the first step, they would have to plug the thumb drive into the computer and copy the cuts into the library. And the best way to do that in this situation would be to open the library. I'm going to change this because it's a little easier to see from here. If we go back, and it looks like you've got quite a few groups all together. Did you say there was a group that
Yeah,
they would put these songs in?
I have PLST playlist 30 and playlist 60, so up to 30 and then up to 60, it should be under the P.
Okay, playlist 30, okay. Playlist 30, where is it? I keep losing it here. Playlist 30.
Why is it not sticking? Oh yeah, there you go. There's nothing in
Yeah,
it.
it's there, there's quite a few groups here.
Yeah. Did you like all my
Yeah,
groups, Rob?
Gets a little
Too many?
difficult sometimes. Well, there's no such thing as too many, but
Oh,
it's
good.
just a little more confusing sometimes. So anyway, okay, so there's nothing in there right now.
Right.
And when you plug in that thumb drive, it's probably going to show up as a drive letter here, G or whatever letter it picks. And the cuts that are in there, what format would they be? MP3 or WAV or?
Those two.
Either or.
Okay. If they are, let's see, let's do something to
Do we
make
have
things a
anything
little
on
easier
thumb drive?
here. I'm going to create a rule in Dropbox,
Okay.
and what that means is, well, you already have so many rules. Okay. Let's see. Is there a rule for playlist 30?
No, so these rules were to take in.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I
There we
see.
go.
Yes, Tyler must
Okay,
have
so
set
there's
these
already
up.
a rule for playlist 30 and
Oh
playlist
yeah,
30 MP3.
MP3
Okay.
and oh god, we're ahead of it.
So,
Shit.
so in the Dropbox folder, which should be a shortcut to it on
Yep.
the desktop here.
So that goes from this other computer, right, over into
Yes,
that?
yeah. There is a folder over
There's
there.
a folder for
Mhm.
playlist 30 right here.
Yep.
So all they would need to do, and I'll check the rule to make sure it's set up properly, but all they would need to do is copy those cuts, those files from that thumb drive to this folder.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing so, Dropbox would see that the files were there and would pull them into the library. And I'll take a look at that rule right now. And you can see that it's putting the files in the plist 30 group. And if they do not have cut numbers assigned, they're going to be given cut numbers within this range. And this range is a little small. In other words, if this range were full,
Yeah.
and that's a global range, it's the entire library, it's not just this group.
Yep.
So if this group were full, or this range were full, it would not pull the cuts in. So what we need to do probably is expand that a little bit.
Okay.
I
You know
don't
what?
know.
I probably thought I misunderstood when I was assigning the numbers. I thought probably that one playlist would be one cut number of that one playlist. But you're telling me each song is going to get a cut ID, so I can
Yes.
fix the numbers.
Yeah, and if there's, in a 30-minute playlist, there's probably going to be maybe as many as 10 songs
Yep.
or files. So this might be enough. What you would probably want to do is, on a regular basis, if these are daily programs or weekly programs, maybe once a month go in and delete the ones that aren't needed any longer.
Yeah. Okay.
Or so that you don't end up filling this up, because if it's 10 songs per playlist, it's going to fill up in 50
Can we just make it
playlists,
bigger now?
which
Yeah.
might seem like a lot, but after a while it'll get full.
Yeah.
So you might want to
Could we just
expand that range just a little bit.
could we expand it now or just
I
Sure.
we're
have
not
my
sure?
Yeah, I don't know what range
I
you've,
have my numbers.
the numbers you have available.
I have everything assigned. We could just say playlists and then just combined. So if we did the playlist 30 and 60 together, then there's 83,000 to 86,500.
Okay, and there's nothing in that range right now?
No, there's nothing in either of the playlist things. So
Okay, let's see here. Okay, yeah, it looks like it goes for, there's something at 87,000.
there is.
It's
Oh.
a radio silence program.
Yeah, that's in the wrong thing, but that's okay. That's in the wrong.
Okay, so it looks like everything from 8106 to 95 is open. So yeah, let's change that range. Where'd it go?
Oh, yeah, we do have spoken radio, 75,000 to 75,999, but that's, things can be deleted also.
Okay. Well, what I'll do here is change this. What'd you say the other rate?
The other one-
86,000?
The other one goes to 86,500.
Okay, so let's just
Okay,
do
that's
that.
fine. Yep.
So you have that's plenty of room. That's 3,500 cuts.
All right, so I'll delete the other playlist after. I'll take the playlist 60 out altogether and
Okay.
just put playlist. All right.
All right, and then it's already set up to instant trim each cut, which sets the head and tail at the point where the audio ends and starts and ends. The auto segue will automatically put a segue marker at the point where the song fades to -6 dB, which is about half volume. And then normalize will keep the audio level constant. It doesn't compress or alter the dynamics at all, but it will raise or lower the overall level of the cut so that it matches the other cuts in the library. The other thing we need to do, and we might need to do this to all the rules because it doesn't get done automatically, is set the scan delay. And it's normally set to 1/2 of the scan interval. In this case, the scan interval is 10 seconds, so we set the scan delay to 5 seconds. And I may need to go through and set that on all the rules if it hasn't already been done.
Okay.
And then the file name parse is the metadata method, and it's set up right now to take the file name with title, artist, album, and user defined, which can be empty or something else if you want. And it looks for the file name to have those parameters in it with an underscore in between. So the files that are on that thumb drive should have title, underscore, artist, underscore, album, and then, like I said, user def is optional so that they could put something in there as an indication of what kind of song it is or whatever.
Okay.
But it doesn't have to be there. The main things would be title, artist, and maybe album. So now that that's already done, and we've got a rule set up for that, and that rule is running, which is checkbox, and you can see the scan bar is running, all they would have to do is put those files from that thumb drive in that Dropbox audio folder. And let's see, did we leave it open? No, it's there. It's Dropbox audio and PL or plist 30. So once they copy those files into this folder, in about 10 or 20 seconds, those files will be pulled out of the folder and put into the library.
Okay.
The next step would be to look in the library, and in that plist 30 group, you should see those 10 or however many songs that were just put in.
Yep.
And once they are there, you can go in and modify them with the white modify button on the bottom, which, it's not working. Oh, that's right, there's nothing in here. There we go. You have to have something to modify. So I'll show you this, just so you can see. This is where all the parameters can be entered or changed, and the main one would be the title. If it's not exactly the way you want it to be, you can edit the title. You can move it to a different group if you need to. You can put an artist name in there or an album name. Most of these parameters you would not change. About the only other ones that might be of use are the day parting and start and end dates.
Okay.
If you wanted to make sure that a certain cut did not play before a certain date or after a certain date, or you can narrow it down to days of the week or hours of the day. This is where you would select those options.
Okay.
And once you've done that, the song will only be available for playback between the start and end date, and only on the active day of the week or hour of the day that are checked. Any other time, it would show up as either expired or invalid, and if that's the case, it would not play.
So this is where is this where you schedule then, kind of, or
No, the scheduling is done in the ensemble program, which
Okay.
we'll get to in a minute.
All right.
But one thing I'm thinking might be handy for things like this would be a playlist cut. And I think we saw one already in the library.
Yeah, there's I have spoken, I have pre-recorded, so things that people, those are pre-recorded shows that we're playing right now. We actually,
Okay.
before you had scheduled one of them, it was, we learned how to do the scheduling with that.
Right. So let's say we have in the playlist 30 group, we have the 10 songs that are going to go into the 30-minute program that you want to create. There's the simplest thing to do would be to create a playlist cut. And to do that, you click on Add and select Playlist. Add is the blue button on the bottom. Playlist. And now you see that modify screen again, only in this case it says the format is a playlist. And here's where you do a couple of things. You give it a cut number. So it would be a separate cut number, and we'll just say,
Oh, yeah, go ahead, this is where I think maybe
so
I thought.
86,001.
What's the playlist of songs?
And then the
Cut
playlist cut title would be the name of the program.
So cut is like your each file is pretty much what your
Each file has a unique cut number.
cut number.
There
Okay.
are, yes, there are up to 100,000 minus one possible numbers for a library. If you need more than that, you can have multiple libraries.
So cut. All right.
But in,
Because when you hear cut, I think of like transition. You know what I mean? I'm from a video.
Oh,
so
no.
so
no,
that's-
it's a cut. That's a recording studio term. It's a,
okay.
So,
and the cut number is the unique identifier for that file
Okay.
and for that audio item in the library. And everything needs a cut number. Audio files, playlist cuts, rotate cuts, all need a unique cut number.
Okay.
but when
And so we're good.
yeah, in order to build a playlist cut, so that number, let's say 86001, could have 10 songs, and each of those 10 songs have their own cut ID, but you're building now a playlist of those 10 songs, and that cut number identifies that playlist.
Right.
Ah.
That's
And the
why.
advantage there is that now we have, or will have, when we finish creating this, a single cut number to schedule.
So then
That's-
they'll
In
play.
other words,
That's
Okay.
exactly
So-
right. That's
All right.
so if
So
this program plays at 2 o'clock this afternoon, all you would need to schedule
Yeah.
in the clock is a
Yes.
single cut at 2 o'clock.
Okay.
and this cut ID right here, 86001. So do you need to go in and give each song in your playlist the same cut number then? Is that like manually do that?
No, here, after you scheduled or created this cut number
Yep.
and named it, so we'll call it 30-minute program, but it would probably be named specifically for the program that you're scheduling.
Yep.
The next thing to do is to give it a length, and in this case, it's going to be 30 minutes. So actually, so it's a 30-minute program, and at this point, I would close and save, which is the purple button in the middle, and now you see that playlist cut has been created, and it's signified by the blue box with the 3 little speakers in it. Now I will reopen this by clicking on Modify, and this playlist button on the left. When I click on that, it opens the playlist Modify screen. And here is where, in theory, you'll have those 10 songs that you want to add to this playlist.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to change groups here so that we have something to actually add. What happened here? Let's see. So basically now we have the library on the left, and it would be the P-List 30 group with the 10 songs in it. In this case, it's a different group, so we have something to actually move. And you just drag them to the right in the order that you want them to play. And you'll see these are all coming up expired because they're from last year. So that's probably not a very good example. So I'm going to find hopefully something that's current. Go to,
I don't know what
just
those
pick
are.
a music,
Oh, those must be promos or something.
and just pick a music category, and you just drag the songs over until you have 30 minutes of programming. And if they've already created that list and it adds up to 30 minutes, then all you need to do is click on this playlist time button in the lower right, and it'll tell you that we've got 22 minutes and 51 seconds. So I'm going to drag 2 more songs over and click it again, and now it's 29:30. And depending on how your timing needs to be, that might be enough. I need to add a 30-second ID or promo or something in there to bring it to 30 seconds, or minutes rather.
Okay.
So now I've got 30 minutes worth of programming, and when I save that, it opens up this Save Playlist window, and this is where I will name it, and I usually recommend naming it the same as the cut name, although it's limited to 8 characters. So we're going to just call it 30 MINTRG, 30-minute program, and I like capital letters, so. And then the description can be a little bit longer, can be 30 minutes program. And then when I save that, it's going to go into the playlist list, which if I click on the white playlist button at the top here, I can see that list. There's that program I just added. And I could reopen it if I needed to and make changes to it now. But instead, I'm going to go to 30, let's see, P-List 30. There's my 30-minute program playlist cut. If I click on Modify and click on Playlist, I can assign that playlist to this cut.
Yeah.
And let's see, where did it go? 30-minute program. Load, and then save, and it will say it overrun. It exists, and when I close this now, you'll see in the playlist field it says 30-minute program.
Yep.
And now I will save it by clicking on the middle button, close and save. And now this cut right here, if I schedule it in a clock, it will automatically play those cuts that are in that playlist in order, and then go back to the main clock or the main playlist. And that means all you need to do in that clock in Ensemble is schedule this cut every time that program is supposed to play. And it could even be the same cut every day or every week, as long as somebody goes in and deletes the cuts from that playlist that don't need to be there any longer and adds the new cuts that do.
I see. That's how one. I was wondering if I wanted to play a symphony, for example, and it had 4 or 5 movements. How you know, that's how I would do it. I'd make a playlist of the symphony or an opera. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, it's a lot simpler, especially for weekly or daily programs that are the same format but just different material, because then all you need to do is edit that playlist to contain the new material, remove the old, and then when that cut is scheduled and comes up and plays, it will play the new cuts, the new material that you put in that playlist.
Yeah. Okay, I get that. Just while we're on this, is similar. If you're building a rotation of whatever, you know, station IDs,
or
yeah.
promos.
Where do you start? Like, where is it? How do you start? How do you do it?
It's the same procedure basically that we just did, except we add, when you click on the purple or the blue add button, you add a rotate cut.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And it's going to be the same procedure. You create a playlist.
Yep.
And put the 10 IDs in it, or however many you want to rotate, and save it. And then when this cut is scheduled, it will play the next item in that playlist, but only that item.
Okay,
In
and
other
those
words,
are
it
found
doesn't
in.
play more than one item at a time, and it rotates through. And this event field right here is where you can see the number in that list that was last played.
Okay.
So if you have 10 IDs in there and you want to know what ID played at noon, you could look in here and see that it says event 4, which would be the 4th cut in that playlist.
Okay.
And rotate playlist.
All right. I'll try to do those later.
Yeah, and I can walk you through that again if we need to, but it's
I think I
the
got
same
that.
procedure as the rotate cut, or as the playlist cut. The only difference is it only plays one of those cuts at a time instead of the whole list.
Yep. Yeah, I've got that. Yeah. Let me see if I had another question specifically, which I had written down. Hold on. What the heck was it? No, actually, it was actually the, that was why the clocks weren't lining up, so I already know that. All right.
Okay.
Are you playing? Oh, 2 hours. Yeah, okay, let me think. What? You go, if you have questions, go ahead, ask whatever.
Can you show me how to schedule real quick?
Well, I can show you how to schedule. It's probably not a real quick thing, but we can show the overview right now. The brown or tan ensemble button
Yep.
on top here, click on that, it's going to open up the ensemble music schedule. And it looks like you've already been using it quite a bit, which is good. This is the list of clocks that have been created and used, and what I recommend doing here is going in and deleting old clocks
Okay.
if you're never going to use them again, mainly because this list gets rather long and hard to follow after a while.
Yeah, so just,
Like some of these here this is from May of last year, so that's probably can be deleted.
those are just the old playlists, right? Yeah, we don't need
Right,
those.
the
Yeah.
old playlist schedules that have been turned into playlists.
Yeah, I don't need
And-
those. All right.
What I will do here is go through the procedure of creating a new playlist. The groups button basically opens up your groups again, and this is where you can add, delete, and edit groups. Clocks are, as the name implies, the clock for each hour of the week. And it looks like you have about a dozen clocks, maybe a little more than that. And as an example, we'll go to the jazz and blues clock, and it looks like you have a soft branch at the top of the hour, which is good, because that's going to synchronize the clock, because in most cases you want to overschedule the hour. And as you can see, the clock on the right is actually 90 minutes, so that you can see that you're overscheduled by about 2 minutes, maybe 3.
Mm-hmm.
And that's good, because you don't want to be underscheduled or you'll get way ahead.
Yep.
What will happen at the top of the hour, or the end of this hour, is that soft branch will wait until the song that's currently playing finishes, and then it will jump to the beginning of this clock. And it might skip that last song if some of these songs end up being longer than the average time. And that average time is calculated, I'm going to go back a step here, in the groups window, let's say we want to look at that jazz, we'll look at the cool jazz group, click on edit, and you'll see that there are 834 cuts in that group. And the average length is 4 minutes and 45 seconds. Now, if you add and delete songs to that group on a regular basis, that average is going to change. So what you'll want to do once in a while is click on this calculate song average length button. And in this case, it didn't change because you probably haven't added or deleted many songs to this group. But if you do, it will change that to be an average. That's so the clock knows how much time to allow for it on average. And it's not going to be exact, but that's why that soft branch at the top of the hour is going to synchronize everything at least once an hour. And then the shuffle song selection, looks like the last time this was done was about 6 days ago, so that's good. You want to make sure that you shuffle it and reset it probably once a month.
Do we do that manually? We shuffle it?
Yes. Yeah, you do it in this window, although I think it's automatically set up to reshuffle.
Okay. Because that has to be automatic, because I have not done it, but I've been wondering why there's so many songs that I hear or see in the playlist, kind of like it's picking the same songs or something.
Right. Yeah, and what you'll want to do here is where you add a reshuffle period.
Okay.
And I think that's something we have to set up in the setup yet.
Okay.
Because then that will automatically reschedule it every however many days, or reshuffle it rather.
Okay.
So now if I go back into clocks, it's scheduling these events and basing the time of each one on the average time that was calculated. In this case, it's 3 minutes and 32 seconds. In this case, it's 3:52. In this case, it's 4:45. So this clock is already set up to pull a song from that group, and it schedules it based on rules. And if you don't have any rules set, it's just going to pick a random song.
Right, that's another thing, yeah, we don't know.
The rules that are set up are usually so that it keeps, in this case, you can see it's artist separation rule. It keeps a song by one artist from playing again, or another song by the same artist within 45 minutes. And you can fine tune this, and you can ignore certain groups or add certain groups. Looks like in this case you're not ignoring any groups. So it's going to look for the artist, song by artist. A is not going to be followed by another song by that same artist for at least 45 minutes.
And but that's not the way, is that set up already? Because it seems like, for example, there was just, it seems several songs by, it was like Bocelli or something, I can't remember, something, but it was one song after the other, and I just thought, how is it playing one song after the other? It was in like classical.
This was not set up completely.
Oh, okay.
We need to
okay.
Put a song scope in there, and then decide if any of these groups need to be ignored. And in most cases, you don't need to, but you might want to ignore commercials.
Right.
You ran commercials because you might run 2 commercials by the same artist back to back.
I see. I gotcha. Okay.
So in this case, the attribute is artist, and it's for all songs. It will prevent the song by one artist from playing the same artist within 45 minutes. And then we will update that rule, and now that should activate when you create your clocks.
Okay.
And again, the clocks are already created. It's just when you generate a playlist, it will go through and pick the music that's going to play in each of these song elements.
Okay, and then you want a soft branch. Well, I know you might want a hard branch maybe at the end, but where do you get that? Where do I pull that in?
You probably only need the soft branch at the top of the hour, and if you needed to have an hour start at exactly 3 o'clock, for example, you could use a hard branch instead for that 3 o'clock clock, and that would fade out whatever song is playing and start the next event exactly at 3 o'clock.
Okay.
And to schedule that, you would go to a DAD event, which is this purple, now it's blue, but it's normally purple with an E. And you'll notice that in there, you can pick from the events that you have to choose from.
Okay.
And in this case, it's going to be either a hard branch or a soft branch. And FB just means that it will jump back, forward, backward, if it gets past that point prior to the time that it's set for. So normally forward only is good enough, because if you get past it, it doesn't really matter unless you need to repeat something at the top of the hour.
Mm-hmm.
So I would, if you wanted that hard branch, instead of a soft branch, you would pick forward branch hard, or FB hard, and then set the time for it, which in this case is going to be the top of the hour. And you click on set time, and you have to click on this too. When you make a change, you click on the button next to it, and then you'll notice that there's nothing in the list here yet, but if I double click on that event, it will show up at the bottom of the list. And here is where I can either leave it there, although I don't recommend having a hard branch and a soft branch at the same time. And if the hour following this hour had a soft branch at the top, it might confuse things. If you don't want it here, just drag it up to the point where you want it, which in this case would be at the top of the hour, and then you would delete the soft branch.
Mm-hmm.
And that's with the delete element button.
Okay. I got it.
So that schedules the hard branch, and I'm going to delete it since you probably don't want it on this particular hour. But in any case, it's a DAD event. It's the kind of purple colored that turns blue when you highlight it, and then you just select the type of event you want, the time that you want it to run, and the transition.
Okay.
Transition will normally be an A for autoplay. It could be an S for segue. Rarely would it be an L for load. That would be only if you were going to want it to stop playback at that point for a live show or a satellite show. If you wanted to continue playing the next hour, you would an A or an S for autoplay or segue.
Okay.
And then once you've made those changes or created those clocks, you can, and I definitely recommend using the copy clock button on the upper left, because that will allow you to take all this work that you've already done and use it in the next hour or the next clock, just making a few changes rather than having to recreate the entire clock.
Okay. So just to, yeah, go ahead.
And once you've created all your clocks, if you go to the hours button, which is the middle one here, you'll see that you have a list of clocks here, which I recommend refreshing with the refresh clocks button.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the left is a week of clocks. It's 168 hours, and you have to put a clock in each hour. And that's easy to do if a lot of the clocks are the same, because all you need to do is highlight the clock on the right and then double click where you want it to go on the left. And you can also use the control or shift keys to select a block of hours to put the same clock in if that's what you're intending to do.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that needs to be kept in mind is that the 11 p.m. hour needs to be slightly different than any other hour. So if you have everything from 6 p.m. to midnight running the same, for example, you can do it. If you did it with the same clock for each hour, it would not load the next day's clock at midnight.
Yeah.
So that 11 p.m. hour, which I'll select one here, the 11 p.m. jazz hour,
Mm-hmm.
needs to have what's called a chain event at the end. And we can't look at it there, but we can look at it here. The 11 p.m. hour jazz, you'll see at the very end of this clock, there's a hard branch, and that happens at 23:59:50, so 10 seconds before midnight. And then the next element is a smart chain to tomorrow. And what that will do is automatically schedule the next day's midnight hour, or the playlist that starts at midnight, and it will load that playlist at midnight, and you don't have to do anything else to make sure that the following day is loaded and playing at midnight.
So that, where did you add, like if I was doing this all over again and I didn't have it and I created that smart chain, I find the smart chain in the data event, and then where do I
Yeah.
find the tomorrow? Do I type that in, or is?
No, you don't even need to put that in, because the smart chain will automatically add that.
Oh, okay, all right,
In fact, it's going to look at the current day, and it's going to load the playlist for the next day automatically.
okay. All right, I got that. Yeah, it's a lot of information, but since I've gone through it a few times with you already, I can add to what I know, but
Mhm.
it is definitely a
Now-
lot for the first
Right.
time.
And that playlist cut that we created for that 30-minute program,
Yep,
to add that, all you would do is click on Library Cut, which is the L, Library Cut, blue. Here, it'll turn light blue. And now, in this bottom field, where it says F Library 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you would add that cut number that we just created.
mm-hmm,
And I think it was 86001. And click on that, and then double click on Library Cut, and now you'll see that cut is there. And you know what, I have to do that again. 86001, and then click on this, and now you'll see that it's scheduling that 30-minute program to play, in this case, at the top of the hour or at the end of the hour, which is obviously not what you would normally want, but this is just to show that is how you would add that program to a clock.
yep,
And that's all you would have to add for that 30-minute period.
okay. That seems, I think I got that. I don't know if these guys got it or not, but,
Okay. Well, the other option would be to add each individual cut to a clock.
Right.
And so 30-minute program that plays every afternoon at 2 p.m., the simplest thing to do is going to create that playlist cut, schedule it at 2 o'clock every afternoon, and then whatever's in that playlist will play at 2 o'clock.
yeah,
And hopefully it will be changed every day unless you want the same program to play every day.
So
right.
is there like a click and drag type thing, like interface with this? Is it all kind of like, you know what I'm
You can
saying?
drag that.
Or, so this is an hour right here, what I'm looking at right now,
Yes.
pretty much, right?
Yeah.
So
It's the 90-minute hour.
it's a 90-minute hour. So then I'm putting these shows, and that's jazz. It looks like, right? Jazz PST 50. So this is where you schedule. This is the interface right here for scheduling, right? Hello. Do we have to pick up?
there.
Yes, you have to hang this one up and then pick up, he has to call over there.
No, I get. Oh,
No, this has to be disconnected.
right. Can't.
Oh.
For some reason it dropped, I don't know why.
Ah, crap. I missed.
This is like brutal interface.
I actually,
Can we dial back, or is there like a?
Chat. Lost.
it just,
I missed it.
yeah. Can we just say call back?
Yeah.
Call same number, yeah. I think I got it. It's
like it takes an engineer to be able to really do a good job with this. I feel like, you know, like a computer mind.
no shit.
Like
Well,
they make this easy.
it's not, there's a lot of little nuances in it, but I think I understand now. Okay,
So 2 more hours of this?
no, about 50 minutes.
50. Hello.
Hello,
Hey.
Okay.
Maybe 70?
we're all
Um,
back together there? Okay.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what else, maybe just, maybe if we just went through making a clock so Caleb can see how it's done.
Okay.
That would be helpful. I mean, I can.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, the easiest thing to do in most cases is to just copy a clock.
Yep.
And I can do that just to show you how that works, and then we'll delete everything and start from the beginning. If I click on copy clock, you'll see that in the list right now is a copied clock of that 11 p.m. hour jazz. It doesn't change the 11 p.m. hour jazz clock, it just creates a duplicate of it, which we now will rename to 11 p.m. jazz copy, and I usually just put that in the comment area too. And then click on either name or description, and it will make that change in the list. So now I have a copy of that clock.
Mm-hmm.
And here is where I can go in and move things around or delete and add cuts to the existing clock. Usually that is easier, but in this case I'm going to make sure that I'm on the right clock. I'm on copy, and I can delete everything that's in it. And now we'll start with an empty clock. And the first thing we'll want to do is put that soft branch in, and that's at the top of the hour.
The soft branch makes it so it doesn't end it like that. on
Yeah,
the song.
hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. The
Yeah.
soft branch will let the song that is currently playing finish, and then
While
start
it
the
gets
next event.
off.
So it won't be exactly at 12 or at the top of the hour. A hard branch would fade out the song that is playing and start the next event exactly on time. So there's our first event. It doesn't really show up on the clock because it doesn't take up any time, but it's there, and it's set for 0 hours and 0 minutes and 0 seconds. And then we're going to add songs. And you might want to instead add a promo or something to this. The easiest way to do that is to go into the library. I'm going to shrink this down enough so you can see both. Let's say we're going to add promos, a promo, and there's the promo group.
Yeah, he didn't have, yeah, Wyndon,
Nothing in it yet.
no, Wyndon
Okay.
put it in the right place. They're in PSAs.
Okay, well, we'll just pick a PSA. Let's say you want a 30-second PSA at the top of the hour. Here's one here. Just highlight it in the library and drag it over to the clock. And now it's scheduled and ready to go.
Ah, okay, all right.
Now, the next thing might be a music cut, and you can do that one of two ways. You can manually schedule each cut, go into jazz, for example, and pick the songs you want,
Okay.
or you can let Ensemble do that for you using that rule that separates the artists and whatever other separations you want to schedule. And to do that, you would just go to the songs and pick the group that you want to play it from. So let's say it's going to be, where are we here? Say you want to add some songs from the Jazz Post 50 group. I think that's what that means.
So the L, when you do
Step-
library cut, it's in the exact order. If I added every song from the library, one song after the other, and if it had that blue L, that means it's gonna play that exact order.
Exactly, it's going to
Okay.
play that song or that
Here.
cut. With the music or songs category, the M songs, and you select the group you want to schedule, it's going to
Rotate them.
use the average length for that group and give it an auto play transition, which is what you might want, but you might also want segue.
Mm-hmm.
And the artist attribute, and let's say you wanted everything from a certain artist to play, you could tell it to do that here too. Otherwise, once you select these things and then just go up here to songs and double click on it, it will add songs one after another.
Ah, I see. That set transition, the segue versus the A, is that automatic? I don't even know what that is. What's the difference?
S it will overlap a little bit if you have a segue marker set, so that as the song is fading out, it will start the next song overly fade. If you don't want that, then you would use the A, which will allow the song that's playing to completely fade out before it starts the next cut.
Okay.
So let's say I want to do the last half of the hour is going to be from a different group, so we'll pick that group. It has pre-50 set group, and then double click
I see.
the rest.
Oh, so you do as many as you want by clicking it?
Well, it'll add it
Right,
up
double click on it to add a song, and you'll notice that it gets to the top of the hour. That's a 60-minute clock, but if I add one more, now it's a 90-minute clock, and it shows that it's overscheduled by about a minute.
Okay.
And that might be good enough. I usually recommend adding another song because it'll be cut off by the branch event at the top of the next hour anyway. Otherwise, it might end early if all these songs are less than the set length. Then it might end early if you don't have it overscheduled.
Yep.
And now let's say I want to move these around so that I'm not playing all from this group first and this group next. All I do is highlight it and drag it up,
Go get air.
and it will
Get some air.
Uh-huh.
change the order that I'm going to play. And then at the end of the hour, you don't really need to put anything unless it's the 11 p.m. hour when you want to put in that chain event to the next day.
So you can just leave it open without anything, because the next day has the next clock would have the soft branch anyway.
Correct. And of course, if it doesn't, if you know that the next hour is not going to have that branch event at the top of the hour for whatever reason, then you might need to put something at the end of this hour. But in most cases, you wouldn't need to do that.
Yeah, we'll just, yeah. Yeah, okay. Well, that's understandable. Maybe, what, over in the type, yeah, go ahead.
I can show you quickly here. You can add comments.
Yes, that would be helpful.
Which don't normally show up in the presenter slot, but they do show up in the playlist.
Mm-hmm.
So you could add a comment that says weather, meaning that whoever's running the board would read the weather live. So I click on set comment, it schedules it, and all that is a comment. There's nothing associated with it. It will just skip right by, but it will show you that the weather is supposed to be there. And
I see.
you could make this an L transition, or schedule a L transition afterwards so that it would stop and allow them to read the weather. But the comment by itself doesn't do that. It's just a marker.
Okay, so back up a second. L transition. L will actually stop the
Yes.
Okay.
If you have an L in there, like let's say this song here, if you change that to an L,
Do that. There was another one. Yeah.
when that song that's playing at 57:16 ends, it will stop, and that weather comment will be sitting there waiting for the operator to read the weather, and then hit the play button to start the next hour.
I see. So,
And you have to be careful when you do that, because obviously if there's nobody in the room and that L comes up, it's just going to stop,
yep.
and you'll have dead air.
So that stops everything. There, I saw another transition button in there. Was it M or something? N,
The N is something that isn't used very often,
okay,
because all it does is it stops playback, but it leaves that cut in the slot, so that you could repeat it if you needed to, but that's not done
Yeah.
very often.
yep. Do not use, okay. Do not use.
And you'll notice that the comment has a length associated with it. That's basically just a label as well, so that you could put a label in there to say 60-second weather or whatever.
Okay, so that would just tell, like, if I was doing it and I saw that playlist and it comes up with that comment and it says 60-second weather, then I go, oh, this is the time, and then I go down and, hey, the weather, blah, 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 and then go back.
Right.
So, okay,
Yeah, this just allows that comment to block off a part of the clock. In other words, if I moved it up here, it would
yeah.
show in the clock that it's stopping for that amount of time.
And that's
Although
only,
it doesn't really do it automatically, it requires an operator
yeah.
to intervene.
And that's only if you're trying to be precise about what you're playing. Otherwise, you could just go in there and say the weather anyway, just interrupt a song.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
just a
Maybe for like a playlist that you scheduled, you don't want it to get out of order or something.
right,
All right.
right. And then the other two things in the type, the element type here are news. That's basically just another comment that will block off, say you have a satellite newscast from NPR at the beginning of the hour. You could block off that 5 minutes using the news element. And then the spot set, if you were scheduling commercials or underwriting announcements, whatever, from a traffic system like virtual traffic or natural log.
We're getting one of those soon. I just can't do it
Okay.
yet. Yep.
Then let's say you have spot breaks at 10 after, 20 after, and 40 after. You could schedule a spot set at each of those places in the clock.
Okay.
And then when you create the clock, it would automatically take those spot breaks from natural log or whatever system you're using and insert them into the playlist.
Okay.
There's a little bit of setup involved to make that work, but once it's set up, it just works.
Yeah.
All you need to do is schedule your announcements and commercials in natural log, and they will automatically be put into the correct positions in the correct hour clocks.
I'm still aiming to, for that second dad, for the backup, but if I have to wait because of all this FCC, taking the access money away, can I get the traffic software and put it on this system, or is that?
Yeah, you could. I guess I would recommend putting it on a separate computer,
Okay,
only because when you're on the air with this computer, you don't want to be working on it to schedule your traffic and billing and all the other things that your traffic software is going to be doing.
I see. And that can go on with the second dad system if we bought that $5,000
Yes.
second. Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
In
I'm
fact,
gonna
you
really
could-
aim
you
to
could
get
run
that.
on it. You could run that on a non-DAD computer
Yep,
and just have it networked to this one.
yeah,
So it would be good to have DAD available, because then you could use it to check your playlist and create your playlist, that sort of thing. But if you had a separate computer that all it was running natural log or your traffic system, all it would need to be is networked to the DAD computer for it to work.
okay. All right, I'll keep that in mind.
Okay.
All right, now let's see. Lord
So
have
I'm
mercy.
I'll leave this clock in here so you can play with it.
Okay,
It doesn't hurt to have clocks in here that aren't used.
yep.
Just make sure they don't get scheduled accidentally.
How on earth, Rob, do you do a whole day with a group? Don't they just die?
As far as what?
Just so much information.
Oh,
Does no
well,
one ever say anything? They just fade in the dark.
it's one of those things, and it applies to me too, because there's a lot of things in our software that I don't work with on a day-to-day basis, and I
Yeah.
have to brush up on it a little bit once in a while too.
Yep,
Unless you do it every day or every week, it's easy to forget some things. We have our help manual available, and I think I've shown you that.
Yeah.
I can show everyone else too
Yeah,
you're not aware of it, there's the DAD online manual, which is in ENCO applications. I'm going to close this first, so I'm not confused here. And what I sometimes do, if I haven't already, is put a shortcut on the desktop. And now, if I need to reference something in the manual, all I have to do is open it. And if you double click on it, it should open it. It's another reason why it'd be good to have two computers, because this one seems to have a lot going on it.
it does.
Well, I'm kind of curious because it seemed to be running kind of slow. I want
It
to see how
shouldn't
much
have,
RAM
yeah,
it's using.
good God. I think we're only,
Well, so you're using a lot of RAM, but you've got a lot. It's 8 megs.
so this is,
So,
the only
yeah,
thing
this
that we
isn't
have
too
is
bad.
what you guys put on. I don't think anything else is on here.
Yeah, it's okay, I guess. It just seemed kind of slow today. Maybe that's the internet more than anything.
Yeah,
But you can see the CPU usage is, 23, 26%. It's using about half the RAM, so RAM's fine. If you were only going to have this one computer doing everything, we would probably recommend upgrading the hardware, upgrading the CPU.
yeah, I think
So that it could-
I think we'll just leave this one the way it is.
Yeah, two computers is definitely the better way to go
Yeah,
if you have the budget and the room for a second.
and we have to increase our internet speed, for God's sakes.
Well, that would help too. That always helps.
God, it's unbelievable.
Anyway, the manual has a table of contents that all you do is, let's say I want to find out about loading a playlist, just click on loading playlist and it opens that section of the manual. So it's pretty easy to search. You can also do a Control F, which is the search function. If Control F will open the search window, and you could put in record, and it's going to bring up every place in the table of contents where record is, all 522 places, and then you just click on it and it opens that section of the manual.
Okay. Well, that's good. I can't think of another thing.
Well, on the subject of the manual, if I'm in the library, and this applies to some of the other applications, machine elements too, but in the library, if I wanted to see the manual for the library, just double click on the title bar up near the red X and click on help, and it will open that section of the manual,
Double
or at
click.
least open the manual. In many cases, it opens the section, in other cases, it just opens the manual.
Click on help. Okay. Red X. So the thing that I guess, the rules that, about the songs, that's something I guess I have to go back in and look at. I mean,
Well, I did make that one change to the one rule you have.
okay, so
So that
that
now
should,
it should work,
okay,
because it just didn't have a scope set.
all right,
So it didn't know what to do.
all right.
Yeah, you could create other rules. You can fine tune this one. I don't know if 45 minutes is what you intend as far as artist separation. You can also do separation by genre, but in your case, you probably want all the music to be from either jazz or classical or whatever
Yeah.
in a certain block. So the main rule that is almost always the first one created is artist separation.
Okay. And that where it says ignore these groups, that's where I would check off maybe, I don't know, not intros, but maybe.
Yeah, you check off the
Yeah,
non-music groups, because
Okay.
that would speed up the process of creating the clock too. You wouldn't have
Okay.
as many groups to search.
all right. I can do that. I think we have another, like, half an hour, but
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what else we can talk about.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you can think of anything right now, we can do it now. If you want to schedule one more session when you've had time to
Yeah, we can do
do a little
another,
bit more with this, and
that's fine. And I think we have, I think, from what I know, I think we paid for 8 hours or some god unknown thing.
yeah, you bought a full day, so there's
Yeah.
plenty of time left.
Yeah, so, okay, I think we're good for today, and then when Tyler comes back, we can go over some things as a group, and then see where we're still missing some information, and then we'll set
Okay.
another one up.
Yep.
I can
Yep,
just let you know in a
we'll
few days.
Do whatever works best for you and your people there, and then, obviously, if you buy another computer, and, there'll be some more time involved in that, too.
Yep, okay, all right, that sounds good. I'll probably be in touch by the end of the week after Tyler gets back, and we may have a chance to go do a few of these things and see what we
Okay.
still need to know. All right, great.
Sounds good. I'll be here. I'm actually staying home for a couple of weeks now, so.
Oh, that's nice. All right, well,
Although I do have a couple of days off to take care of some personal stuff next week, but otherwise I should be around.
yeah, you travel a lot, don't you?
Well, it has been a busy spring so far.
Yeah. All
And
right.
here in Minnesota, we still have a foot of snow on the ground, so
Oh.
it's nice to get away once in a while.
Yeah, I think we had our last snow yesterday or Sunday, so
Oh.
we're good.
We're all hoping that for that last snow, we're done for this year.
Yeah. All right, well, take
All
care,
right.
and I'll be in touch.
You too. Thank you.
Thank
Have
you,
a good
Rob.
day, guys.
Yep,
you too.
Everybody. Thanks.
Goodbye.
Bye.
He's a nice guy.
Guy can freaking talk forever.
Well, I'll just shut that down. Oops. Yeah,